Hi everybody, here's a quick video to show you how to take to Design Space this new SVG to create a lovely heart-shaped gift box which is decorated with a bow and flowers and leaves on the front. It has this optional insert inside which you can use but you don't have to. There it is with just the base showing the insert. And the idea with this is that you'll be able to customize it in whatever cutting software you use if you're gifting things like jars or pots or bottles or whatever you want to put in it. But you can just use it without the inserts, of course. They're cut in two pieces because this is a large box and unfortunately can't cut an insert in a single piece on our machines. It would be just too big. What else do I need to tell you? Yeah, so it's decorated on the front with this ribbon and a bow and these flowers. Got a better shot. You get quite a few files with this bundle. So the basic box is this size and it ends up about 43 millimeters deep, but you get lots of different files to make different heights of walls and different depths of lids, so you can make different size boxes from it. There's a close-up of the bow and there's a close-up of the lovely flowers. You get everything you see in the picture that you need to make this box, as well as the different options for the walls. You can make 4 different depths of it in total with 4 different kinds of lid. Lots of choice. Okay, so let's go to Design Space and bring in the basic file anyway. So the file which contains the whole project is this one. It looks a little bit daunting, but it's actually really easy to use if you just follow these instructions. I'll just zoom out a bit so we can see it. Right, so the first step, as always, it's a multi-part cut file with score lines. So we've got to convert those lines that come in as cuts, but which we want to be scores. We can't make them come in already set to score. But in mine, it's nice and easy because they always live in this first subgroup in your layers panel. So you just need to click on the name of it, which is always the second line down in your layers panel. That selects everything in the group. Then go over to your operations menu and choose score from the drop down, and you can see that all those scores have been converted now. But because there's a lot in that group, we've got to ungroup them so that we can attach individual scores to individual pieces later on. So ungroup for me is at the top of the layers panel. I'm using the desktop version for PC, so I'm just going to click on that and it ungroups those pieces. Then I'm scrolling down the layers panel to find the next group. You can tell it's a group because it's got this little arrow that you can toggle open and close. Again, I'm just going to click on the name of the group and it selects everything in it. And here I just need to ungroup it so that all those cut pieces are separate. And then because SVGs come in an overall group, I just need to ungroup a third time. So you can either click at the top of the layers panel to select everything, or you can drag a box around it like that, or you can use the select all button. Lots of different ways. You can also do Control A on your keyboard. However you do it, once it's all selected, a third ungroup. Okay, so now everything on screen is a separate piece and we can attach individual scores to individual pieces. You've got to do it that way, one piece at a time, otherwise you end up with a message in Design Space that the project's not compatible and you can't cut it. Quickest way, I think, to select one piece and its scores is to just click on canvas somewhere near it, drag a box to more or less enclose it, and then attach, which for me is at the bottom of the layers panel. So you're going to do that for each piece on screen that's got score lines. These grey pieces are the box base. The walls for the base and the lid come in 4 sections. It's a big box. So I'm just selecting. You'll notice that you don't have to go all the way around the pieces. No scores actually on the base piece itself. No scores. These 3 here are the pieces to make the bow. Obviously these pieces here are the leaves. The flowers don't have any score lines either. I'll just get them out of the way for now. No scores on the top of the lid either. These ribbon pieces do just have 1 score. That's the larger lower ribbon piece and this is the smaller upper ribbon piece. just show you what I'm talking about there in case that sounds confusing. Can you see how there's um, one ribbon sort of like an offset? There's a bigger piece which has an offset. And then these, of course, are the lid walls. So it's actually really straightforward. It looks complicated because there's a lot in, but if you just follow this video, then it's really quite easy. Okay, so if we click make it now, I'll just show you what happens. I don't want to save it. Let's see if we might need to do any faffing around. So you could cut the whole project from 12 by 12. And if you do that, you're going to need 1, 2, 3 pieces for the base, but it's actually a small amount of a piece. So 2 pieces in a scrap. And then, we don't want, you probably won't want that. I'm saying you don't, you probably won't. I might change that actually before I release the SVG. I'll put the flowers into a different colour. Yeah, I'm going to split that. Let's just choose a very pale grey for the lid. Probably will want those out of the same. And you see, I wouldn't even want, I'd want the bow out of that part, the bow out of the same material as my lid. Yeah, don't worry about this too much. I'm gonna change this before I give you it. But of course you can change it back yourself. You can have it any way you want, really. I'm having to select these in the layers panel because they're attached and I don't want to detach them. So that's why I'm just searching them out in the layers panel so I can change the colour. Yes, I'll definitely change this before I give it to you. Oops, what am I doing? That one? I have this really big pointer on so you can see where I'm going, but it's actually a little bit tricky to click on things when it's this big. Right, so let's just have another quick look at that. I want the flowers in the same material. No, I want that piece of the bow in the same stuff of the box, I think. Yes, I do. That's how I made mine anyway. If I go back, yes, you can see that this top part of the bow is made out of the same stuff as the boxes, as is that ribbon top piece. And then the flowers are made out of something completely different because they want to be out of something a lot lighter than your box is made out of. But I did want my ribbon to match my box, but you won't have to. You can do anything you want, and you can change the colours on canvas just like you've seen me do there. It's really easy. I'm just changing this because of how I want them to cut. Right, so we'll start that again. The dark grey pieces, remember, are the box base. Now we've got the lid at the top. So I'm going to choose 12 by 12. And so for the lid and the ribbon upper and the top of the bow, we need 3 sheets of 12 by 12. This is the base. I'm going to choose 12 by 12 again. We need 1, 2 and about half, 2.5 sheets of that. Now these are my flower petals, and can you see how they've all been scattered everywhere? I think it's possible to match them up, but even so, you just go for the biggest petals and they go with the next biggest ones. And then the next, there's one that's sort of a medium size, 2 large, 1 medium and 3 small. So I think it is possible to match them up. So we'll just choose A4, but in a minute I'm going to show you how to put them in pairs before you cut, so you don't have to worry about it. They would cut from an A4. These red pieces, they will all fit on A4, but I think we might need 2 sheets. Yes, we do. And of course, would they fit on letter? No, they wouldn't. That's too long for letter. So if you can't get A4, you'd have to use 12 by 12 for those pieces. So that'll help you decide what you're actually going to cut things out of. But you can change colours of things, as you probably already know anyway. But if you don't know, you've just seen me do it on canvas. So that's what you'd need. About 3 sheets for the lid and the ribbon and the bow. 2.5 sheets for the base, less than a sheet of A4 for the petals, and 2 sheets of A4, or if you've got to use 12 by 12, let's have a look. Yeah, 1 sheet of 12 by 12 and then a little bit. Can we not get that on there? I wonder if we can. know how I... No, we won't. We won't. I don't think. No. No, you're definitely going to need a whole sheet and then a piece for that very large bottom bow section. Right, so that's how you cut the main project without worrying about any different heights of walls or anything. But I just want to show you, I'm going to get rid of everything because we're just going to focus on the flowers for a second. So at the moment they're just groups, but they're not attached, which is why they split up on the mat. So I'm going to ungroup them so I can get at them a bit better, and I'll zoom in, not quite that far maybe. Okay, so this is one flower, still grouped. Oh, they're all grouped and grouped again. Right, okay. So there's the stamen, and there are the two petals that make that flower. Stamens don't matter so much. Ungroup that again. If you're not concerned at all about matching up the petals, which as I say, I think is pretty easy, don't worry about doing this, but this is just how you could keep them in pairs. Put that small one down there. So stamen over there. And that's the one that goes with that one. Those two go together. Stamen out of the way. And that's another pair of petals. So let's just see what space they take up. Yep, they would cut from a sheet of letter or a sheet of A4. We know we need a sheet anyway. So what you could do, with those laid out like that, you could just click attach. And then when you send it to print, obviously you would have all your other mats for the project as well. But there you could just choose A4 or letter, and when they cut out, the petals that go with each other will be next to each other, so you can take them off your mat and stack them up, and you know that you've got a pair of petals there that make a flower. That's just if you're worried about it. I think it is fairly easy to sort out which go with which, but that's how you can do it if you don't want that uncertainty. Right, so that's the main project. Obviously you do that bit with your flowers before you send the whole project. Where's it gone? There it is, before you sent the project to cut. But as I mentioned, as well as that basic whole project SVG, you do get other SVGs. So you've got one to make an insert. I'll just show you that again in case you've forgotten. Is this. It has to be cut in two halves because it would be too big to cut in a single piece, and they just slot neatly into the box and make a lovely insert, which you could then customize in whatever your cutting software is to perhaps cut holes out to put things in, like if you were making a cosmetic set or a bunch of jams or whatever you might be making, you could cut holes in these inserts to hold them in place. Back to design space. Right, so the reason they're laid out in that funny layout is because I wanted them to be able to cut on 12 by 12, because if you have to cut them on tabloid or A3, it still takes a whole sheet. You can't get two on a sheet of A3 or tabloid. So I did it like this, and I've rotated them like this so that they will fit, because if I brought them in straight, I couldn't rotate them and make them fit. So we're going to do this score thing again. Click on that second line down in your layers panel, which is the name of the group that the score lines live in. Go to your operations menu, choose score, because there's more than one, we've got to ungroup. Then select the group of cut pieces and ungroup those, and then do that final ungroup. So now these are separate pieces. As you can see, we want the scores to be attached. And if we hit make it, you can see now that we can choose 12 by 12. And I know that looks weird, but trust me, I tried this so many different ways, and this is the best way I could make it work. If you haven't got 12 by 12, or if you want to cut it on A3 or tabloid, because that's the card you've got, then it will fit. It will still fit that way. And even if you rotated it so it was that way around, You still can't get 2 on a sheet, unfortunately. So it's an uneconomical cut on A3. I made mine on A3 because that was the lovely card I had that I wanted to cut them out of. But I rotated them like this because I couldn't then, if I brought them in straight, they wouldn't rotate and fit on 12 by 12, whatever I did. And you would have to like attach another piece to it on the canvas in that rotation to make it stay rotated. So it's easier if I make it come in rotated like that. So that's the insert. And then you also get 3 different heights of wall and 3 different heights of lid wall. So I'm only going to bring in one set of each. They all behave in exactly the same way. These are the walls which are 6 centimeters, so they're 2 centimeters higher than that basic box. Scrolling a little bit, it's exactly the same procedure. Click on the second line down in your layers panel. That selects the whole group of scores, or lines that we need to convert to score anyway. Choose score from your operations menu, and because there's more than one set, we've got to ungroup them. Then we need to click on the group of cut pieces and ungroup those, and then that final select all and a third ungroup. So then we just need to attach these scores. I'm doing Alt A on my keyboard, a little bit faster than moving all over with the mouse. And obviously if you were making your project, you would bring these into your project and delete the walls you didn't want. You can still cut all these from A4, but not letter, I wouldn't think. Oh, you can. Yep, you can still use A4 or letter for even those deeper walls, but there are some deeper than that, so it won't be quite as economical as a cut. They fit nicely, don't they, in that 6 centimeter configuration, but when they get any deeper, they won't. And so the dark grey again are the box base, and this colour, this pale cream colour, these are the lid walls. They're all named correctly, of course, so there's no guessing. You don't need to worry that you won't know which is which. And when you get your PDF of instructions, there's a really, in fact, I can just show you that because have I got that open still? I have. This is my document of instructions. This is the front page of it, where every piece that you get is there's a representation of it. It's the actual SVG brought into in design here, and it's labelled with what it is. So even if English is not your first language, you can hopefully look at the size of them and at least match up the wording, and that will hopefully tell you what you're working with. Close that. So again, we've got that process of converting the scores. Click on the second line down in your layers panel. It selects the whole group. Go to your operations menu, choose score, and while they're selected, ungroup them. Then select the cut pieces, ungroup those. Select the whole SVG, ungroup that, and then you've just got that routine of attaching the scores. The lid pieces, obviously the lid walls are a lot narrower, but they will still fit on A4 or letter. Lengthwise, they'll all fit on A4 or letter. It's just as you choose the wider walls, they won't fit on for sure. All right, I think that's everything I need to show you. Yeah, I think so. If you've got any questions when you come to cut or assemble it, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I really am always happy to help, and no question is a stupid one. You only learn by asking questions. The links to get in touch are in the description below. You can use Facebook or Etsy, whichever you prefer. And if you've just stumbled across this video and you'd like to buy the SVG, there's a link to buy it in the description as well. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.